My sister, WHO always tries to put me down, stole my wedding dress and married my fiancé for his money while I was away for a business meeting. Upon my return, my sister smugly said, "I have a surprise for you." And when she tried to introduce my fiancé as her husband, I couldn't help but laugh because the man she married was actually. I had always believed that betrayal was something that came from enemies, not from the people you love the most, but life has a cruel way of proving you wrong. I had just returned from a business trip, exhausted but excited, when I noticed something was off. The air in my apartment was thick with the scent of vanilla, a fragrance I knew all too well, my sister's perfume. Confused, I stepped into my bedroom and opened my closet. My wedding dress was gone. Before I could even process it, my phone rang. It was Christine, my best friend. The moment I picked up, her voice was unusually steady, almost hesitant. "Ellie, sit down," she said. My heart pounded. Christine only spoke like that when something was seriously wrong. "What's going on?" I asked, my throat tightening. There was a pause. Then she said, "Amelia and Axel got married yesterday. In your dress." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. I squeezed the phone in my hand, my knuckles turning white. "What?" I whispered, my mind scrambling to keep up. "It's all over social media," Christine continued. "I tried calling you, but your flight was delayed. I thought you knew." I couldn't breathe. I had been gone for only a few days. And in that time, my fiancé and my sister had stood at an altar, exchanged vows, and stolen everything that should have been mine. Then everything started making sense. Axel's recent coldness, Amelia's sudden interest in my wedding plans, the way they both encouraged me to take this business trip despite the tight timeline. I had been blind. I swallowed the lump in my throat. "I need to go," I told Christine. "Ellie, wait." But I ended the call. I opened Instagram, my hands trembling, and there it was, picture after picture of Amelia in my dress, holding on to Axel, smiling like she hadn't just shattered my world. The caption read, "When you know it's meant to be." "Sorry sis, but sometimes love can't wait." A bitter laugh escaped my lips. They have no idea what's coming. My phone buzzed again, this time with a text from Bruno, my mentor. "Deal sealed. You now own controlling interest in Harrington Enterprises. Announcement goes public next week. Congratulations." A slow, cold smile spread across my face. Harrington Enterprises, Axel's family company. The same company he had been desperately trying to save for the past year, and now it was mine. The doorbell rang, snapping me out of my thoughts. I opened the door to find Leah, Amelia's best friend, standing there, her face full of regret. "Ellie," she said quietly, "I'm so sorry." I tried to stop her. I stepped aside, letting her in. "Tell me everything." Leah hesitated before sitting on my couch. She wrung her hands together, guilt written all over her face. "It was planned for weeks," she admitted. "Amelia told Axel you were cheating on him. She even staged fake messages between you and your business partner. And when he confronted her about his doubts, she told him that fate had brought them together, that you were too focused on your career to love him the way he deserved." I clenched my fists. "And my dress? My apartment key?" "She stole your spare key weeks ago," Leah said, voice barely above a whisper. "She wanted to make sure you wouldn't stop her." I inhaled sharply, forcing myself to stay calm. The old me would have screamed, cried, demanded answers, but I wasn't that person anymore. I had leverage now. I had power, and I was going to use it. Leah hesitated. "They're having a celebration dinner tonight at Bella's." I exhaled slowly. "Good to know." She looked up at me, surprised. "You're not going to do anything reckless, are you?" I smiled, but it didn't reach my eyes. "Oh, Leah," I murmured, standing up. "You should know me better than that because I never played to participate. I played to win." I stared at my phone, scrolling through the endless flood of comments and likes beneath Amelia's latest Instagram post. "When you know, it's meant to be." "Sorry sis, but sometimes love can't wait." I laughed. Not because it was funny. No, there was nothing amusing about my fiancé and my sister betraying me, but because they truly had no idea what they had walked into. They thought they had won. They thought I was broken, but I was already planning my next move. My phone buzzed with another notification, this time from Bruno. "Final paperwork is ready. Once you sign, it's official." I walked over to my desk, sat down, and opened my laptop. One final click. That was all it took to strip Axel of everything he had spent his life trying to preserve. His family's company, the one he had fought tooth and nail to save, was now mine. I exhaled, watching the confirmation email come through. Ellie Monroe, majority shareholder of Harrington Enterprises. It had a nice ring to it. As if on cue, my phone rang Axel. I let it ring. Then, I let it ring again. And, again. Finally, I picked up. "Ellie, please," he started, his voice urgent. "You don't understand. It's not what it looks like. Oh, I interrupted, keeping my tone light. So, you didn't marry my sister in my wedding dress? Silence. That's what I thought, I said, smiling to myself. I hope you two are very happy together. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have more important things to deal with. Business, you know how it is. Ellie, wait. I hung up. Christine arrived shortly after, arms crossed, worry etched into her features. You're too calm, she said. And, I don't mean that in a good way. I poured 2 glasses of wine and slid one across the counter to her. What would you rather I do? I asked. Cry? Scream? Throw things? Christine hesitated. I don't know. Maybe just feel something? Oh, I feel something, I assured her. I feel focused. I feel ready. She studied me for a long moment before sighing. You're terrifying when you're like this, I smiled. Good. Bruno arrived next with the final details. We need to discuss the gala, he said. The announcement about your acquisition is set for next week. Everyone important will be there, including Axel's family. Make sure they all receive invitations, I instructed. Make it impossible for them to refuse. Christine shook her head. This isn't just business, Ellie. You want them to see you win. I met her gaze. Why shouldn't they? That evening, I walked into LeBlanc, the upscale restaurant where Amelia and Axel were celebrating their new life together. The maitre d' looked up. Miss Monroe, do you have a reservation? I smiled. Table for 1. Heads turned as I walked in. Amelia, sitting at the center of the table, went pale. Axel's jaw tightened. Ellie, Amelia started, standing abruptly. Don't let me interrupt, I said smoothly, accepting the menu from the waiter. I just came for the lamb. It's excellent here, isn't it, Axel? We used to order it every anniversary. Axel's face lost all color. Amelia's friends whispered among themselves, shifting uncomfortably. You should join us, one of Axel's business associates offered, clearly trying to diffuse the tension. I smiled. That's very kind, but I wouldn't want to impose. Besides, I have some work to review before next week's big announcement. Axel's head snapped up. What announcement? Oh, you'll find out soon enough, I said, sipping my wine. The gala invitation should have reached you by now. I'm sure it'll be a night to remember. Amelia abruptly stood, grabbing my arm. We need to talk, now. I let her pull me toward the restroom, watching her carefully. She turned to me the moment the door shut. Ellie, please. I know you're angry. Angry? I repeated, tilting my head. No, Amelia, I'm not angry. Her eyes filled with desperation. You don't understand. Oh, I understand perfectly. I took a step closer. You lied. You stole. You betrayed me. And for what? A man who was never yours to begin with. She flinched. We didn't mean to hurt you. I laughed softly. Oh, sweetheart, you didn't mean to. You wore my dress. You planned this for months. But here's the thing. Betrayal has consequences. A sharp knock interrupted us. Amelia? Axel's voice. Is everything okay? I turned, unlocking the door and meeting his gaze. Oh, everything's fine, I said smoothly. We were just having a little sisterly chat. His eyes darted between us, filled with unease. Ellie? By the way, Axel, I said, tilting my head. How's the company doing? I heard some interesting things about last quarter's financials. His expression darkened. How do you? I patted his cheek as I passed. You should really pay more attention, darling. Back at my table, my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. We need to talk about Axel Harrington. Meet me tomorrow at 10 a.m., Capital Coffee. Ask for Cameron. I stared at the message for a moment before another text came through. I have information you'll want to hear before the gala. Across the restaurant, Amelia and Axel sat in tense silence, their celebration thoroughly ruined. The waiter approached. More champagne, miss? I shook my head. No, but please send a bottle to my sister's table. I raised my glass in their direction. They thought they had won, but they had no idea. I was just getting started. I arrived at Capital Coffee 10 minutes early, scanning the crowded cafe until I spotted him, a man in a charcoal suit sitting in a corner, his posture relaxed but eyes sharp. He waved me over. You must be Ellie Monroe, he said as I sat down. And, you must be Cameron, I replied. He slid a folder across the table. I'm the external auditor for Harrington Enterprises. I think you're going to want to see this. I opened it, my eyes scanning the documents. Bank statements, wire transfers, records of money being funneled out of the company. Millions of dollars. My stomach tightened. Axel's been stealing from his own company, Cameron said. But here's where it gets interesting. The money isn't in his accounts. It's in accounts under your sister's name. My breath caught. Amelia? He nodded. I don't think she knows. The accounts were created months ago with transactions Axel initiated. I've seen this before. He's setting her up. If this ever came to light, he'd blame her. claimed she was behind it all. I closed the folder slowly. So this wasn't just about betrayal anymore. This was about fraud. And Axel was willing to throw Amelia under the bus to save himself. Does the board know? I asked. Not yet, Cameron said. I was preparing my report when I heard about your acquisition. I figured you might want to handle this before I go public. My phone buzzed. Leah? I hesitated, then answered. Ellie, Amelia's freaking out, she said. She got bank statements for accounts she doesn't recognize. Axel told her it was a banking error, but she doesn't believe him. She's scared. I exhaled slowly. Tell her to keep those statements safe. And tell her not to sign anything Axel gives her. Ellie, what's going on? I'll explain soon, I said before hanging up. I turned back to Cameron, determination hardening my voice. We need to move fast. The board meeting is this afternoon. I want Axel blindsided. Cameron smirked. I like the way you think. Back at my apartment, Christine and Bruno were waiting. How bad is it? Christine asked. I tossed the folder onto the table. Worse than we thought. Axel's not just a liar. He's a criminal. Bruno flipped through the documents, his expression unreadable. If the board sees this, he's finished. Then let's make sure they do, I said. Bruno, you need to make sure I have their full support when I take over. Christine crossed her arms. And, Amelia? I hesitated. She's a victim in this too, but that doesn't mean I forgive her. Not yet, Christine sighed. Just don't let revenge be the only thing driving you. This isn't just revenge, I said. This is business. The emergency board meeting was set for 3 p.m. and I arrived early, watching as the members trickled in. Harrington senior executives, key investors, Axel's own father, they were all here. And then, at exactly 3:05, Axel walked in. His eyes locked onto me, confusion flickering in them before turning into suspicion. What the hell is this? Bruno stood. We're here to discuss recent financial concerns within Harrington Enterprises. Axel scoffed, adjusting his suit. Financial concerns? Oh, please. Cameron entered the room, setting up his laptop. Let's begin, shall we? Axel paled. He recognized him. The moment Cameron projected the financial statements onto the screen, the room fell silent. For the past year, Cameron began, millions have been siphoned from the company into private accounts under Amelia Monroe's name. However, upon further investigation, we found that every transaction was authorized by Axel Harrington. Gasps rippled across the table. Axel stood abruptly. This is ridiculous. My fiancé wouldn't. You mean your wife? I cut in smoothly. The one you married in my dress? He clenched his fists. This is a setup. Cameron clicked to another screen. Emails, transfer approvals, Axel's own digital footprint. This is undeniable evidence of fraud, Cameron said. Axel's father stood. Is this true? Axel stammered, his composure slipping. I was consolidating funds. It was temporary. The board members murmured amongst themselves. The tide was shifting. I leaned forward. So, Axel, tell me, if you were consolidating funds, why did you make sure all the transactions led back to Amelia? His face strained of color. He had no answer. I turned to the board. Harrington Enterprises is in a crisis. The only way forward is new leadership. I paused for effect. Effective immediately, I'm proposing that Axel step down. Axel's father nodded. I second that motion. One by one, hands went up. Unanimous. Well, I said, leaning back in my chair, that settles that. Security moved in. Axel lunged toward me, but they grabbed his arms, restraining him. You think you've won? He spat. I stood, meeting his glare with a slow smile. Oh, Axel, I murmured. I didn't just win. I ended you. They dragged him out. After the meeting, Amelia waited outside, her arms wrapped around herself. She looked lost, broken. You knew, she whispered. You knew all along. I found out yesterday, I admitted. Tears welled in her eyes. He never loved me, did he? I sighed. He loved what you could do for him. That's not the same thing. She swallowed hard. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I don't know what to do. I handed her Christine's card. She's the best fraud lawyer in the city. Call her. Fix this. She looked at the card, then back at me. And us. I hesitated. We're not there yet. She nodded, wiping her eyes. I understand. As I walked away, my phone buzzed. A text from Cameron. Now that the board's handled, let's talk about the gala. I have a feeling Axel's not done making a scene. I smirked. Oh, I was counting on it. The first time I walked into the boardroom as CEO, I expected whispers, stares, resistance. But what I found was something different. Respect. The board members, most of whom had voted Axel out just days ago, sat in attentive silence as I took my seat at the head of the table. Bruno had prepared briefing documents, Cameron had finalized the transition plan, and I had spent the last 24 hours ensuring I was ready. This was no longer about revenge. It was about rebuilding. "Let's get started," I said, my voice steady. "We have a lot of work to do." The meeting ran like clockwork, every department reporting back, plans being restructured. The damage Axel had left behind wouldn't be easy to fix, but I wasn't here for easy. I was here to win. Afterward, Christine was waiting for me in my office, her expression unreadable. "You need to see this," she said, placing a file on my desk. I flipped it open. "Bank records. Testimonies. More victims. This isn't just about Harrington Enterprises," she continued. "Axel's been pulling this for years, across multiple companies. And we just found more people he scammed." I exhaled slowly. "How many?" "At least 23 confirmed." I leaned back, absorbing the weight of it. He wasn't just a liar or a cheater or a fraud. He was a predator. A knock at the door interrupted us. Cameron stepped inside, nodding at Christine before turning to me. "You've got someone you need to meet." He led me down the hallway to the conference room. Inside, a woman sat with her hands folded tightly in her lap. "This is Sarah," Cameron said. "My sister." She looked up, her eyes sharp but weary. She was one of Axel's first victims. I pulled out a chair across from her. "Tell me everything." And she did. The same script, just different details. Axel had made her believe they were in love, had convinced her to put her name on business loans, had left her in financial ruin when it all collapsed. "I thought I was the only one," she admitted, voice hollow. I glanced at Christine's file. "You weren't." She swallowed. "So, what now?" I didn't hesitate. "We fixed this. All of it." Later that afternoon, Amelia showed up at my office. I let her in, watching her fidget with the hem of her sleeve. "I met with the fraud lawyers," she said, voice quiet. "They think I can clear my name if I cooperate." I nodded. "Good." She hesitated. "I don't know how to make this right, Ellie." "You can't," I said simply. "But you can try." I slid a folder toward her. She frowned, opening it. "What's this?" "A job offer," I said. "Director of the Victims Advocacy Department." Her head snapped up. "You want me to lead it?" I leaned forward. "You've been on both sides of this. You fell for Axel's lies, but now you know better. Help the others." Tears welled in her eyes. "Why would you do this for me?" I met her gaze. "Because I'm done letting Axel ruin people's lives, including yours." She swallowed hard, nodding. "Don't mess this up," I warned. "I won't," she whispered. That evening, I found myself sitting on the rooftop of Harrington Enterprises, looking over the city lights. "Mind some company?" I turned to see Cameron standing there, hands in his pockets. I nodded. He sat beside me, the silence between us comfortable. "You did the right thing," he finally said. "Which part?" He smiled. "All of it." We sat in silence for a moment before he added, "You know, I don't think Axel ever realized just how badly he underestimated you." I smirked. "Men like him never do." He turned to face me fully. "So, what happens now?" I exhaled. "We move forward. We make things right. And you?" he asked softly. I looked at him. Really looked at him. "I think I finally get to start over." He reached for my hand, fingers brushing against mine. I let them stay there. For the first time in weeks, I felt something close to peace. The courtroom was silent as the judge prepared to deliver the sentence. Axel sat at the defense table in an orange jumpsuit, looking smaller than he ever had before. "The defendant has shown a repeated pattern of fraud and manipulation," the judge said. "The impact of his actions has been extensive." Amelia sat behind me, Christine and Cameron on either side. Taking into account the severity of these crimes, the judge continued, "This court sentences the defendant to 15 years in federal prison." A hush fell over the room. Beside me, Amelia let out a shaky breath. Axel shot me one last glare as they led him away. I held his gaze unwavering. Outside, the press swarmed. Reporters shouted questions. "Miss Monroe, how does it feel to see justice served?" I stopped, turning to the cameras. "This was never just about justice," I said. "It was about protecting people. It was about making sure no one else ever suffered at his hands again." And with that, I walked away. Away from the courthouse. Away from the chaos. I didn't just win a company. I won something more important. Control over my own destiny.